this hobby store, SBT, in Kingston, very nice. They had a whole lot of different stuff there. Sometimes when you go to a comic store or a general nerdy store, they'll have comics and then Dungeons and Dragons stuff, or they'll have like Pokemon cards and a bit of video games, or some like board games and then Warhammer 2. Like usually they have a couple of things, but not everything underneath the sun. This store had every kind of nerdy, geeky thing that you might be interested in. It was kind of overwhelming. Like you enter, and then they had like to your left they had all sorts of anime action figures. It was like someone like Bacon, you'd probably like it a lot. Bacon. In fact, as we were leaving, we saw that they had the giant mimic from First Four Figures. It's a huge mimic statue. It was like some obscene price, but I mean, those statues are huge and they cost a pretty penny. I know that Bacon has one. He showed it off recently. But yeah, this is what I bought. I bought this. They had like video games, Dungeons and Dragons, Warhammer stuff, comic book stuff, anime stuff. Like, it was crazy. They just had a whole lot of stuff. But this right here is the Citadel color painting handle. Look at that. I know it looks like some weird kinky sex toy. I know it looks like something that you'd find at Aren't We Naughty, but I assure you it's for the innocent hobby of painting miniatures. As you can see, it functions something like this. So if I can show you guys real quick, I've been painting my miniatures just like this. Here's an example. I kind of just glue. What am I thinking? So normally, lately, I've been painting my miniatures like this. I just sort of glue my guy onto, this was probably a fruit cup or something. Don't use it with my waifus. Yeah, they won't like that. I don't think they'd like that. And it works. This more or less works, right? And it's fairly cheap. However, I use super glue to sort of affix the model to the base, and that way, especially if the model's metal like this, you're not going to run into the risk of touching the model and then the paint flaking off. That's a big problem with metal models especially. So now we have this baby, and yes, it looks a little kinky. I understand that. But it works something like this. You see, there's some kind of like spring action here. Whoop, whoop. There's like a spring. And you put your model like this. And then you just go like that. And boom. It's super affixed, like it's not going to fall. And the handle is a bit weighted. There's a decent amount of some kind of heft to this. I don't know what they put into it. Maybe some counterweight. And yeah, it feels really nice in the hand. I know that sounds weird. But if you imagine painting, yeah, I think that's pretty nice. And again, I don't have to touch the model. And it's very easy to take it out like this. See? And then put in something else like this. Whoop. And work on something else. Mary Trunks, cool. It's a helpful tool. Yeah, so this was something that I had been thinking about purchasing for a good long while. I was like, it's just that I hadn't been to any store that carried it. And look, it's big, right? This thing is big enough that you can kind of like, it can kind of hold bigger models, like even this. It might, yeah, it's pretty stable. Yeah. Pretty neat, Bacon, yeah. I think so. So I bought this, so I'll say this though, I was a little disappointed when I got home with my, with this thing, this kinky thing. And let's see. I thought that I was going to be able to place a 25 millimeter base. This base right here is 25 millimeters. I thought it would be able to accept that, but it doesn't. It's far too large, right? Or rather, the model is far too small. It won't fit. So I was kind of bummed out about that. However, you can stretch it out, stretch it out, stretch it out, and there you go. You can sort of nestle it within the gap, and that's not bad. You can still use it. Although that being said, these they do sell a smaller one that will hold 25 to 35 millimeter bases, and they're fairly inexpensive. So I might get one or even two of them, and yeah, it holds it really nicely. And you can, it is a thing when you're painting, or when I'm painting at least. I occasionally like to hold a model upside down and paint it upside down, just because you want to get all those different angles, right? And so putting it upside down and never running the risk of it falling out is a thing. So overall, not a bad pickup. It's just another, just as Mary Trunk said, it's just a nice, handy tool to have, especially if you're painting as much as I am. It's just going to be handy, and I'll still end up using my my paint cup method. I'll still end up using this just because I like to have multiple models on the go, so that'll be a thing I still use. But we have this for bigger models or whatever. And it does have these like small holes on the side of it that you're able to use these like little armature pincher things to add onto it, so it looks like a really crazy, pinchy, kinky sex toy. But yeah, that's one thing I picked up. Been looking towards getting that for a good while. And overall, I'm pretty happy that I got it, even though initially I was a little like, it's kind of too big. But in hindsight, or rather thinking about it more, I do have a number of models that are big, like this, that I've shown. So it'll be handy. I also got some more paint, just, you know, not a big deal, just got some more of this while I was running out of it. Just some Cantor Blue. It's one of my favorite colors. So yeah, that was the pickup at SBT Comics in Kingston. Very nice store.